India reports 1.73 lakh daily new COVID cases, the lowest in the last 45 days. Daily recoveries continue to outnumber the daily new cases for the 16th consecutive day. Recovery rate reaches 90.80%. Over 2,84,000 patients recover in the last 24 hours. India continues to achieve a higher milestone in COVID vaccinations. Cumulative vaccine coverage exceeds 20.89 crores, including more than 28 lakh doses administered yesterday till 7 p.m. Over 1.66 crore beneficiaries are in the age group of 18 to 44 years. More than 1.82 crore doses are still available with states and union territories to be administered. The External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar, meets the U.S. Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, in Washington. A productive discussion takes place on various aspects of the bilateral cooperation, as well as regional and global issues, including vaccine partnership, Indo-Pacific and the Quad. The EAM says talks have further solidified our strategic partnership and enlarged our agenda for cooperation. India expresses strong opposition to the unwarranted references made by the President of the United Nations General Assembly on Jammu and Kashmir. Terms these remarks made by Volkan Bozkir as misleading and prejudiced that does a great disservice to the office he occupies. And in sports, the defending champion Amit Pangal and Shiva Thapa, they've reached the finals of the Asian Boxing Championship in Dubai, while Pangal outpunched familiar foe Sakin Bibosinov of Kazakhstan 5-0. Thapa defeated the top-seeded Bokudur Usnov of Tajikistan 4-0. So let's begin with our top story. My name is Mark Lynn. Our top story is about COVID. India's active caseload has reduced to 22,28,724 today. So the active cases have decreased since the first week, since the peak, in fact, on the 10th of May of 2021. A net decline of 1,14,428 cases have been witnessed in the last 24 hours, and active cases are now only 8.04% of the country's total positive cases. As part of the continued decline in the daily new cases, the country has recorded less than 3 lakh daily new cases for 13 consecutive days as of now. Less than 2 lakh daily new cases are being reported since the last 2 days. And 1,73,790 daily new cases were registered in the last 24 hours. India's daily recoveries continue to outnumber the daily new cases for the 16th consecutive day. 2,84,601 recoveries were registered in the last 24 hours. 1,10,811 more recoveries during the last 24 hours as compared to the daily new cases. Now, out of the people who've been infected since the beginning of the pandemic, 2,51,78,011 people have recovered from COVID-19, and 2,84,601 patients have recovered in the last 24 hours. So this constitutes an overall recovery rate which is above 90%, 90.80% to be precise. The cumulative number of COVID-19 vaccine doses administered in the country has exceeded 20.89 crores today. This is under the national vaccination drive. India is the second country after the US to achieve this landmark of 20 crore vaccinations. A total of 20 crore 89 lakh 2,445 vaccine doses have been administered through 29 lakh 72,971 sessions and over 133 days. So over 13 lakh beneficiaries are in the age group of 18 to 44 years. They've received their first dose of the vaccine on May 28. Now, as of day 133 of the vaccination drive, a total of 30 lakh 62,747 doses were given. India has moved swiftly in terms of COVID-19 detection testing since the beginning of the COVID pandemic. A total of 20,80,048 tests were conducted in the last 24 hours in the country, and cumulatively India has conducted 34.11 crore tests so far. While on one side, testing has been enhanced across the country, a continued decline in weekly case positivity is noticed. Weekly positivity rate is currently at 9.84%, while the daily positivity rate has reduced and is at 8.36% today. It has remained less than 10% for 5 consecutive days now. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin has said that the total lockdown will continue in the state till the 7th of June. In a statement, the Chief Minister said that groceries, fruits and vegetables will continue to be sold in local areas with the coordination of local administration. Every ration card holder will be given a bag containing 13 grocery items through the PDS system. Now, he appealed also to the people to observe the lockdown regulations along with COVID guidelines to control the pandemic. Himachal Pradesh government has decided to extend the curfew in the state till the 7th of next month with a few relaxations. This decision was taken at a high-level meeting chaired by Chief Minister Jairam Thakur in Shimla yesterday. The government has allowed shops to remain open from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. 5 days a week from the 31st of this month. However, shops selling daily necessities like milk, bread, vegetables, fruits and medicines will remain open as usual on all 7 days. It was also decided that government offices will function with 30% attendance. Standalone offices with strength of up to 4 employees will remain open with full strength. Similarly, the public transport will also remain suspended till further orders. There is a cap of 20 persons in marriages and funerals, and no social political function can be held. All educational training and coaching institutes will remain closed till further orders. Nagaland government has meanwhile extended the statewide total lockdown with the existing guidelines till the 11th of June. The state has been under the lockdown since May 14. High-powered committee on Friday decided to extend the statewide total lockdown with the existing guidelines till the 11th of June. The decision was taken in the wake of the rising number of COVID-19 cases in the state and as per the feedback received from all the district task forces. The ongoing vaccination drive will continue to be aggressively implemented across the state. The Indian Railways has delivered more than 20,000 metric tons of liquid medical oxygen in more than 300 oxygen express trains to various states across the country. On mission mode till now, Oxygen Expresses offloaded medical oxygen in around 39 cities in 15 states across the country. Oxygen Expresses offloaded liquid medical oxygen, that's called LMO for short, at 41 stations in these 39 cities and towns. So oxygen relief by the Oxygen Expresses reached 15 states, which are Uttarakhand, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Haryana, Telangana, Punjab, Kerala, Delhi, Uttar Pradesh, Jharkhand and Assam. Now, as per the nationwide vaccination drive, the centre has been supporting the states and union territories by providing them with COVID vaccines free of cost. In addition, the government has been facilitating direct procurement of vaccines by states and union territories. Vaccination is an integral pillar of the comprehensive strategy of the Government of India for containment and management of the pandemic, along with test, track, treat and COVID-appropriate behavior as well. Implementation of the liberalized and accelerated Phase 3 strategy of COVID-19 vaccination has started from the 1st of May 2021. Under this strategy, every month 50% of the total Central Drugs Laboratory cleared vaccine doses of any manufacturer would be procured by the centre. It would continue to make these doses available in the state governments totally free of cost, as was being done earlier. The Government of India has so far provided both through the free cost category as well as through the direct procurement category more than 22.77 crore vaccine doses. Let me give you the exact number: 22 crore 77 lakh 62,450, in fact, to states and union territories. Of this, the total consumption, including wastage, is 20 crore 80 lakhs 9,397 doses, and this is still 8 a.m. of today. So more than 1.82 crore COVID vaccine doses are still available with the states and union territories to be administered. Furthermore, more than 4 lakh vaccine doses are in the pipeline and will be received by the states and union territories within the next 3 days. International news now. The United States government has redirected orders of critical vaccine manufacturing supplies, which will allow India to make over 20 million additional doses of AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccines. The Acting Assistant Secretary, Bureau of South and Central Asian Affairs, Dean Thompson, also informed that the U.S. has provided over $500 million in COVID-19 relief supplies to India to fight against the pandemic. Earlier, the White House had announced that the U.S. will be sending 60 million doses of AstraZeneca vaccine to other countries, and this will start from June of 2021. The External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar, and the U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken held bilateral discussions at the State Department. The External Affairs Minister is on a trip to Washington, and that trip has drawn to a close. Both the leaders discussed a wide range of issues, which include COVID-19 relief, efforts to strengthen Indo-Pacific cooperation through the Quad, and a shared commitment to combating the climate crisis and enhancing multilateral cooperation, including at the UN Security Council. Secretary Blinken and the EAM, Jaishankar, they also discussed regional developments, the coup in Myanmar, and also continuing support for Afghanistan. Both the leaders pledged to continue their cooperation on shared economic and regional security priorities. In a brief remark, in their remarks to the press, in fact, before their meeting, the External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar, expressed his thanks to the United States for its solidarity and support to India at a moment of great difficulty for the country.
We have a lot of issues to discuss. I think our relations have grown stronger over the years, and I'm very confident they'll continue to do so. But I also want to take the opportunity to express to the Secretary and through him to the administration, to the United States for the strong support and solidarity at a moment of great difficulty for us. As he said, we have plenty to talk about, but I thought that's something I should express.
And Secretary Blinken, in his remarks, said that the partnership between the two countries was vital, strong, and increasingly productive, and that they had a lot to discuss.
The United States and India are working together on so many of the most important challenges of our time, and ones that are having a profound impact on the lives of our citizens. And we're united in confronting COVID-19 together. We're united in dealing with the challenge posed by climate change, and we are partnered together directly through the Quad and other institutions of the United Nations in dealing with many of the challenges that we face in the region and around the world. The partnership between the United States and India is vital. It's strong.
Later, after the bilateral talks with the U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, the External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, in a series of tweets, said, and I quote, "Pleasure to meet U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken. A productive discussion on various aspects of our bilateral cooperation, as well as regional and global issues. Covered Indo-Pacific and the Quad, Afghanistan, Myanmar, UNSC matters, and other international organizations." In another tweet, the EAM said, and I quote, "Also focused on India-US vaccine partnership aimed at expanding access and ensuring supply. Appreciated strong solidarity expressed by US at this time. Today's talks have further solidified our strategic partnership and enlarged our agenda of cooperation." The External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar, who is on a 5-day visit to the United States, discussed wide-ranging issues related to shared priorities and regional security challenges, including the Quad, during his meeting with the Secretary of State Anthony Blinken and the Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin as well.
To work with the US on the vaccine production issue, because the United States, in terms of the supply chain for vaccines, the US is absolutely indispensable. Our endeavor is to expand our production of vaccines in India, and that is something where we will work with the US to make that possible. The second is, as I pointed out, to engage a new administration. It has its worldview. They need to hear ours. We're looking at the contemporary challenges. We have convergence on many important issues.
Addressing the media in Washington, D.C., the EAM, Dr. S. Jaishankar, said that talks on regulatory, legal, commercial and supply chain side, these talks are going on between companies concerned and entities with authorized people in India.
There are ongoing conversations on the regulatory side, on the legal side, on the commercial side, and on the supply chain side. Okay. These are going on between the companies concerned and the entities, the authorized people in India. In many cases, the embassy, the ambassador personally, many of his colleagues have also been, dealing with the companies, either the companies that manufacture the vaccines or the companies that are part of the supply chain.
You're watching the midday news here on DD News and DD India. We're going to take a short break, but there's a lot more after that. Stay with us.
रविवार को हमारे साथ होंगे विशेषज्ञ जो बात करेंगे कोविड-19 से संबंधित जटिलताओं के बारे में। इस विषय से जुड़े सवाल आप पूछ सकते हैं हमारे टोल फ्री नंबर 1800111234 पर। साथ ही आप अपने प्रश्न कार्यक्रम के दौरान ईमेल कर सकते हैं ddnewstotalhealth@gmail.com पर। तो देखिए रविवार 30 मई सुबह 8:30 बजे टोटल हेल्थ सिर्फ डीडी न्यूज पर।
Welcome back. Well, India has expressed strong opposition to the unwarranted references made by the President of the United Nations General Assembly, Volkan Bozkir, on Jammu and Kashmir. The MEA spokesperson, Arindam Bagchi, while responding to remarks made by Bozkir, said, "We express our strong opposition to the unwarranted references made with respect to the Indian Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir by the President of the United Nations General Assembly, Volkan Bozkir, during his recent visit to Pakistan." The MEA spokesperson said that the UNGA's president, his remarks that Pakistan is duty-bound to raise the issue in the UN more strongly are unacceptable, nor indeed is there any basis for comparison to other global situations. When an incumbent president of the UN General Assembly makes misleading and prejudiced remarks, he does great disservice to the office he occupies. The MEA spokesperson further said the President of the General Assembly's behavior is truly regrettable and surely diminishes his standing on a global platform. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will share his thoughts with the people of the country and abroad in Man Ki Baat on All India Radio tomorrow. It will be the 77th episode of this monthly radio program. It will be broadcast on the entire network of All India Radio and Doordarshan, and also on the news website of All India Radio and also on the mobile app of All India Radio. It will also be streamed live on the YouTube channels of All India Radio, DD News, the Prime Minister's Office and the Information and Broadcasting Ministry. AIR will broadcast the program in regional languages immediately after the Hindi broadcast. The centre has invited Hindus, Sikhs, Jains, Buddhists, Parsis and Christians belonging to Afghanistan, Bangladesh and Pakistan and residing in 13 districts of Gujarat, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, Haryana and Punjab to apply for Indian citizenship. The Union Home Ministry issued the notification in this regard on Friday for immediate implementation of the order under the Citizenship Act of 1955. People who are eligible to apply for Indian citizenship are those currently living in the districts of Morbi, Rajkot, Patan and Vadodara of Gujarat, Durg and Baloda Bazar in Chhattisgarh, Jalore, Udaipur, Pali, Parmer and Sirohi in Rajasthan, Faridabad in Haryana and Jalandhar in Punjab. The National Defence Academy today held its passing out parade for the 140th batch. Nearly 300 candidates are currently taking part in the NDA's passing out parade. In addition, the Indian Navy's Chief of Naval Staff, Admiral Karambir Singh, is reviewing the office as officer of the passing out parade. And in addition, other officers of the armed forces were also present during the passing out parade. The passing out parade of the National Defence Academy marks an important step for the cadets as they receive their ranks on their shoulders, following which they officially become commissioned officers in the Indian Army. On the third occasion, when the prestigious passing out parade is held under the shadow of COVID-19, in fact, every year, in fact, 2 batches of cadets pass out from India's premier Tri-Services Military Academy in Pune to continue with 1 more year of pre-commissioning training at the academies of their respective forces. Now, while addressing the NDA graduates, Admiral Karambir Singh congratulated the candidates and also encouraged them to begin their journeys in the service of the nation.
If you look straight ahead, you will see 3 Sukhoi 30 MKI aircraft approaching the quarter deck, bidding farewell to the passing out course. Battalion Cadet Adjutant Mausam Watts. Winner of the President's Silver Medal, Battalion Cadet Captain Jayant Tambrakar. Winner of the President's Bronze Medal, Academy Cadet Captain Neeraj Singh Papola. Winner of the Chiefs of Staff banner, Golf Squadron.
I extend my heartiest congratulations to all cadets passing out from the portals of this illustrious academy today. The National Defence Academy is an iconic institution. It's a unique military academy which attracts the best of youth from our nation and friendly foreign countries. The Academy's credo of Seva Paramo Dharma has guided generations of officers in service of the nation. Remember, the Indian Armed Forces have a rich legacy where our personnel have proved their mettle time and again. As proud inheritors of such a great legacy, much is expected of you. You are the future of the the nation. From this point onwards, everything you have trained for will start to make sense to you. Because in the armed forces, you train as you fight, and you fight as you train.
A total of 198 short service commission officers passed out of the portals of the Indian Army's Officers Training Academy in Chennai today. They included 167 gentlemen cadets and 31 women cadets who took part in an impressive parade at the Parameshwaran Square in the OTA on the occasion. The parade was reviewed by Lieutenant General Y.K. Joshi, the General Officer Commanding-in-Chief of the Northern Command. Addressing the gathering, he reminded the graduating cadets that victory in war depended not on technology or the numbers, but on the quality of leadership provided to the forces. He urged them to reorient themselves to the connection between emerging technology and being soldiers, and that this has changed, in fact, the face of conflict in the modern era, is what he said. He emphasized the importance of jointness in conduct of military operations to propel the much-needed integration of the armed forces. Major Vibhuti Shankar Dhondial, who made the supreme sacrifice at Pulwama in 2019, was posthumously awarded the Shaurya Chakra. Today, his wife, Nikita Kaul, donned the Indian Army uniform after passing out of the OTA OTA Chennai, and paying him a befitting tribute. Lieutenant General Y.K. Joshi, the General Officer and Commanding-in-Chief of the Northern Command, reviewed the passing out parade himself, and he put the stars on her shoulder.
Will go past the saluting dice, slow march, taking their final step.
The ceremony also saw the graduation of 5 gentlemen cadets and 7 women cadets from the mountain kingdom of Bhutan.
Unforgettable quiver whenever they hear the tune of Auld Lang Syne, to the strains of which these young men and women pass out from the Officers Training Academy today.
Sword of Honor and Officers Training Academy Gold Medal. Academy Cadet Adjutant Abdesh Katoch. Officers Training Academy Silver Medal. Battalion Under Officer Adarsh Pratap Singh. Officers Training Academy Bronze Medal. Battalion Cadet Adjutant Mani Mehtab Dhaliwal. Chief of Army Staff Banner, Meghtila Company.
Moving on to other news now, at least 27 people from half a dozen villages lost their lives. This is after consuming spurious liquor in the Aligarh district of Uttar Pradesh. 10 people are reported to be in a critical condition. The authorities have ordered a magisterial probe into the incident and suspended 5 excise officials. 4 people, including the main accused Anil Chaudhary, have been arrested. A reward of 50,000 rupees each has been declared for the arrests of 2 of his associates, Vipin Yadav and Rishi Sharma. Notably, there are over 500 government liquor shops in Aligarh district alone. Of these, 5 shops have been sealed, while the rest of them have been ordered to stay closed until further notice. The liquor from the sealed shops is being sent for testing in a laboratory. The Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has directed officials to run a surprise raid campaign during the next 48 hours. The Ministry of Education, Department of Higher Education today launched Yuva, the Prime Minister's scheme for mentoring young authors, an authorship mentorship program to train young and budding authors in order to promote reading, writing and book culture in the country and to project India and Indian writing globally. The launch of Yuva, Young, Upcoming and Versatile Authors, is in tune with the Prime Minister's vision to encourage young writers to write about India's freedom struggle. Yuva is a part of India at 75 project Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav to bring to the fore the perspectives of the young generation of writers on themes like unsung heroes, freedom fighters, unknown and forgotten places, and their role in the national movement and other related themes in an innovative and creative manner. A total of 75 authors will be selected through the All India contest to be conducted through the mygov.in portal, and this will be from June 1 to the 31st of July 2021. The winners will be announced on the 15th of August, Independence Day this year. The young authors will be trained by eminent authors and mentors. An interministerial team of the central government visited Amreli district to assess the loss caused by cyclone Thorthe that hit Gujarat on the 17th of this month. The team visited various villages of Amreli district and they took stock of the damage. Amreli district collector informed the team that out of 640 electricity poles that collapsed during the cyclone, more than 500 had been restored already. Power is being gradually restored to hospitals, government offices, banks and residential properties. The collector told the team that priority is being given to providing drinking water, and people are being provided 70 litres of water per person every day. In line with the Prime Minister's vision of Make in India and a fine example of Atmanirbhar Bharat, the Indian Coast Guard ship Sajag. It was commissioned by the National Security Advisor Ajit Doval today. The ICG ship is the third in a series of 5 offshore patrol vessels which have been indigenously designed and built by the Goa shipyard. Let's give you a fact check now. Well, the Union government has refuted a claim wherein it was claimed that this is a provision to provide assistance of 4 lakh rupees in case of death due to COVID-19 under the State Disaster Response Fund. Well, the Press Information Bureau of the Government of India has termed this claim as fake, saying that there is no such provision in the accepted norms under the State Disaster Response Fund. You're watching the midday news here on Saturday, the weekend midday news. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll give you global news.
Namaste land.
Marhaban ila al-Hind.
India.
Salam India.
Namaste India.
Namaskar Bharata.
Muy
India.
Nahnu Hunud. India.
Ma Hindi Hasti.
Hindian.
Salam Hindustan.
We are India.
कोरोना से बचाव के उपाय। आपस में कम से कम 1 मीटर की दूरी रखें। हाथों को बार-बार साबुन और पानी से धोएं। 60% अल्कोहल आधारित सैनिटाइजर का प्रयोग करें। मास्क से चेहरे को ढक कर रखें। छींकते या खांसते समय नाक और मुंह को रुमाल या टिश्यू से ढकें। प्रयोग किए गए टिश्यू को तुरंत कूड़ेदान में डालें। सामाजिक आयोजनों और भीड़-भाड़ वाली जगहों से दूर रहें।
Let's now take a look at COVID-19 updates from across the world. The world continues its battle with the COVID-19 pandemic. So far, more than 17 crore 1,53,000 people have tested positive for COVID-19. The number of recoveries stand at over 15 crore 19 lakh globally. The deadly virus has claimed more than 35 lakh 37,000 lives worldwide. The United States continues to top the list. It has the maximum number of COVID cases worldwide. More than 3 crore 40 lakh people tested positive for COVID in the United States cumulatively, and more than 6 lakh 8,000 people have lost the battle to COVID in the United States so far. Now, the European Union's drug watchdog has approved the Pfizer-BioNTech coronavirus jab for 12 to 15-year-olds and the first vaccine to get the green signal for children in the bloc. The Amsterdam-based European Medicines Agency has said that the vaccine was well tolerated in adolescents and there was no major concern in terms of side effects. The move will be a further boost to Europe's vaccination program, and Germany says that it will start giving the jab to children over the age of 12 from next month. The United States and Canada have already authorized Pfizer for adolescents. The World Health Organization Director General Tedros Ghebreyesus has said that the COVID-19 pandemic is far from over. He's urged equitable access to vaccines. The WHO chief also added that he believes that the right political will and the incentives from countries will help end this pandemic. Meanwhile, the WHO experts are preparing a proposal on the next studies to be carried out into the origins of this virus that causes COVID-19. Earlier on Thursday, the United States had called for the WHO to carry out the second phase of its investigation into the origins of this virus, with independent experts given full access to the original data and samples in China. Britain made a similar appeal.
This pandemic is far from over. I believe that with the right political will and the right incentives, we can see an increase in collaboration and pooling that would help end this pandemic.
Also clarifying doubts about vaccinations, the WHO chief scientist Soumya Swaminathan told a news conference that a single dose of COVID-19 vaccines in those who have already had the virus boosts immunity and is as good as getting 2 doses.
One dose boosts immunity in people who've had a previous COVID infection. So a single dose in people who've been previously infected is as good as getting 2 doses of the vaccine.
Japan has extended COVID-19 state of emergency in Tokyo and 9 other regions for another 3 weeks. Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga said that although infections were falling, they remained high and that some hospitals were still under strain. Restriction will be in place till June 19th, 5 weeks before the postponed Tokyo 2020 Olympics are to start. Organizers said that they would wait until the emergency ends on the 20th of June to decide whether to allow local fans to attend the Olympics. Overseas fans have already been barred. Experts said that the daily infection rate in Tokyo has to fall below 100 in order for the city to safely host the games. On Thursday, there were almost 700 new infections in the capital city. Well, the Japanese Prime Minister said that the next 3 weeks are crucial. They are extremely important in achieving these results in infection prevention and vaccine inoculation, which is the two-pronged strategy of the country. The state of emergency was put in place in April, on the 23rd of April, for an initial period of 2 weeks. And this is the second time it's been extended. Under these restrictions, bars and restaurants have to limit the sale of alcohol and also close early. The measures also cap the number of audience members at any event. Well, the U.S. Senate, Republicans, they blocked the creation of an independent commission to investigate the deadly riot by Donald Trump supporters at the Capitol in Washington. This is a move that's aimed at preventing a bipartisan probe ahead of 2020 midterm elections. 10 Republicans would have needed to join all 50 Democrats to advance the measure, which had already cleared the U.S. House of Representatives with modest bipartisan support. But only 6 Republicans voted in favor, a result that demonstrates the deep divide in Congress and the nation also, nearly 5 months after the January 6 assault, and the influence that the former president continues to exert on the Republican Party. The U.S. President Joe Biden has released his first annual budget, a $6 trillion budget. It's a spending plan that includes steep tax increases for wealthier Americans. The bumper proposal would include huge new social programs and investments in the fight against climate change. But it needs approval from Congress, where Republican Senator Lindsey Graham condemned it as insanely expensive. Under the Biden blueprint, the federal spigot would unleash $6.011 trillion in 2022, with increases gradually rising to $8.2 trillion in 2031. Debt as a percentage of annual GDP would be expected to quickly surpass the level seen at the end of World War II. The overall aim, Biden said, is to grow the U.S. middle class while positioning the United States to outcompete their rivals. In continuing with news from the United States, Joe Biden on Friday expressed gratitude to the U.S. Armed Forces for their service as Americans head into the holiday weekend of Memorial Day, which honors the fallen men and women of the military. The First Lady Jill Biden accompanied the President to Joint Base Langley in Virginia. This is for the event, before the couple headed to their Delaware home to spend the holiday weekend. And the U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris on Friday became the first woman to deliver the commencement address to the graduating class of the United States Naval Academy in the school's nearly 175-year history. Addressing the U.S. Naval Academy commencement, Harris said that the global pandemic has accelerated what was happening before, and it has accelerated our world into a new era. In 2018, the U.S. President Donald Trump delivered the commencement address to the Academy, in which he said that under his leadership, the United States is respected again.
The global pandemic, you see, of course, has accelerated what was happening before, and it has accelerated our world into a new era. It has forever impacted our world. It has forever influenced our perspective. And if we weren't clear before, we know now, our world is interconnected. Our world is interdependent. And our world is fragile.
Well, Mali's Constitutional Court has declared Assimi Goïta, the colonel who led the military coup this week while serving as vice president, to be the new interim president. Goïta became the vice president of Mali's transitional back to democracy after leading the coup last August that overthrew the president Ibrahim Keïta. Now, on Monday, he ordered the arrests of Mali's president and prime minister. Both resigned on Wednesday while still in detention. They were later released. The court said in a 4-page ruling that Goïta should fill the vacancy left by the resignation of the country's heads in the process of a transition to its conclusion and carry the title of President of Transition, Head of State. Well, heavy rains in the Amazon rainforest, they've caused rivers to rise to near record levels there, threatening the capital Manaus with another disaster after it was severely struck by the coronavirus pandemic. Across the state of Amazonians, over 400,000 people have been affected by flooding. In Manaus, locals have had to build a new system of stilted footpaths. This is a new system that allows the residents to move among the flooded streets. Now, environmental researchers have said that while rainfall varies from year to year, climate change has brought particularly heavy rainfall and also very dry years too, and this is hurting farming. So the Amazon deforestation may also be contributing to this long-term change, but it does not impact rainfall year after year, according to researchers. Today is International Day of UN Peacekeepers, and this day is observed on the 29th of May every year to pay tribute to peacekeepers and their contribution, and to honor over 400,000 peacekeepers who have lost their lives serving under the United Nations flag since 1948. So the theme this year is the road to a lasting peace, leveraging the power of youth and peace and security. Around 90,000 men and women work in peacekeeping missions worldwide to protect civilians and help achieve and maintain peace, also defending human rights. The peacekeeping force was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize, in fact, in 1988. In sports news now, let's bring you some sports news. Defending champion Amit Pangal and Shiva Thapa, they've stormed into the Asian Boxing Championships finals with resounding victories in the semi-finals in Dubai. Pangal outpunched his familiar foe, in fact, Sakin Bibosinov of Kazakhstan. He won 5-0 in the 52 kg category. Thapa dominated the top-seeded defending champion Bokadur Usmonov of Tajikistan, and he made the final with a 4-0 verdict in the 64 kg category. Also, the second seed Sanjit defeated the third seed, who was Tursunov Sanjar of Uzbekistan, 5-0. This is in the 91 kg category in the semi-final to secure a silver medal for India. Well, the Board of Control for Cricket in India has announced that they will complete the remaining matches of the Indian Premier League in the United Arab Emirates, considering the monsoon season in India in the months of September and October this year. So the decision was taken at a special general meeting which was held virtually, where members unanimously agreed to resume the IPL. The BCCI SGM further authorized the office bearers to seek an extension of time from the ICC to take an appropriate call on the hosting of the T20 World Cup, the ICC T20 World Cup 2021, which is to be held in India. In football, the UEFA Champions League features arguably the most important match of the season, as Pep Guardiola's Manchester City lock horns with Chelsea at the Estadio do Dragão. And the two Premier League giants have impressive victories this year and this season, and they could mark a landmark moment in their history. Manchester City has been exceptional as Pep Guardiola's team this year and this season, and they have already managed to win both the Premier League and the Carabao Cup during the campaign. The Citizens, as they are known, are tactically robust. They are a unit and could win the first UEFA Champions League trophy in their history. Chelsea, on the other hand, have been a resurgent force under Thomas Tuchel and have managed to top 4 finishes this season. The Blues have been a thorn in Manchester City's side and could complete their renaissance with a victory in this fixture. The previous meeting between the two teams took place in the Premier League earlier this month and ended in a 2-1 victory for Chelsea. The Blues also dumped Manchester City out of the FA Cup this year and will want a similar result this weekend. And that's all we have in this bulletin. Thank you very much for your time and company, but always remember to keep your mask on during these difficult times, because it's not only a way of saving yourself, but also protecting all those around you. Thanks for being with us. Namaskar.